There's a question that coaches ask me again and again and again. It's a question that I wanted to address in The Prosperous Coach. 3 years ago, we wrote this book, been out for 2 years now, and the same question comes up continually. It's a question I address in the book, but I hid away my answer. There's a chapter in the appendix, right at the back, called How to Fearlessly Create a Powerful Coaching Conversation. And the question that coaches ask me is, what do I do when I've done some great coaching with somebody? How do I turn great coaching into a great coaching relationship? How do I turn powerful coaching into a powerful coaching relationship? And it's an important question. And there's a reason I hid the answer away in the appendix, because I didn't want it to become a formula. Coaching can't become formulaic. Don't believe anyone who tells you there's a magic system to create coaching clients. Even in the book that Steve and I wrote, the piece in the center about creating clients is something that can be turned on its head in any moment, that can be done differently in any moment, depending on who shows up in front of you and depending on where you're coming from in that moment. There is no system that will create powerful, high-end, powerful, high-performing clients. There are systems that can sell ebooks. There are systems that can sell apps or build an email list. But a powerful coaching engagement with a powerful client, there's no formula for that. And yet, there are some parts to the mix that if you add in, will turn a powerful coaching conversation into a powerful coaching relationship. And that's what I want to talk about today. So, first thing is, you've built a connection. You've established that someone wants to spend time with you. You've set up a conversation, and you've spent an hour and a half, 2 hours, really, really deeply serving somebody. Then what? Now, that first part is important. I don't teach anybody to do a 20-minute taster session because I don't believe that's how you create powerful, high-performing, high-paying clients. So we have to assume that you understand that. I have to assume that you've read The Prosperous Coach and you get where I'm coming from. If you haven't, pause the video because nothing will make sense. Or if you apply it, you won't see an impact. Read the book first. But if you get where I'm coming from, then this is where you go. You've built a connection. Someone's agreed to spend time with you. They've agreed to block out significant time with you. They've spent significant time with you. And you've served them really powerfully. And you get to the end of 90 minutes or 2 hours. And they've had an insight or a breakthrough. And what do you do next? The first thing is to remember, there's no rush. Slow down to speed up is my mantra when it comes to working with high-performing clients. They've had an insight or a breakthrough. How do you know? Because they go silent. And one of your most powerful tools as a coach is silence. Bite your tongue. Wait. And then wait some more. And then, just when you're feeling really uncomfortable, wait some more. It's not your job to speak first. Let them internalize what's going on. There's a breakthrough or an insight that's happened. And when you coach around insight, this is life. Life is like this. And then there's an insight. And then everything changes. Everything after that, life is completely different. Give a moment for everything to settle. Their whole world has been shaken if you've coached them powerfully to an insight or a breakthrough. Give space. And you're building a relationship. There may come a moment when they say, wow, that was incredible. I think I'm done. Don't rush it. There's no need to rush into making a proposal in that moment. If they tell you they're done for now. If you sense they're full, they're complete, they're done, then you can say, I think you're done for now. Would you like to have another conversation? Would you like to speak again? How about this? After the call's over, sometime in the next 24 hours, write to me. Send me the single most important insight you had in this conversation today. Write to me. Send me one action you're going to take that follows the biggest insight you had in our conversation. And then, let's speak again. How about we put a call on the calendar for 3 days' time? How about we speak the same time next week? Give them space for their insight and schedule something. Give them an assignment. One of the things about the people I work with is I'm filtering for people who take action. So I'm testing for people who take action. And giving them little assignments along the way is my way of finding out, is this the kind of person I want to spend time with? So you've had a powerful, deep coaching conversation. There's been an insight or a breakthrough. You've paused to create silence because you're in no rush. You're building a relationship. And then you've given an opportunity to schedule something into the future, a day, 3 days, a week's time. But sometimes, here in the moment, they're ready to go further. Pause in that silence. Wait for the thank you from them. Or give them a thank you. Thank you. I want to acknowledge you for really opening up with me today. I want to acknowledge you for not hiding anything, for being vulnerable, for taking a risk. Acknowledge them. Don't suck up to them, I don't mean that, but just acknowledge them for where they've come on this journey. If you've really done deep, powerful coaching, then they've opened up and been vulnerable. And let them know that you see that. Let them know that they might tomorrow wake up with a vulnerability hangover, as Brené Brown puts it. A vulnerability hangover is that moment when you wake up the next day and you think, oh my God, what did I share with someone I don't even know? And what Brené Brown says is if you don't wake up with that hangover, the vulnerability hangover, then maybe you didn't go deep enough. You give them that context, they can relax a little bit when they do wake up tomorrow and they realize, oh my God, I really shared those intimate secrets that maybe I've never shared with another living soul. And I share with this person who calls himself a coach. And if it's the sense inside of you is, we can go a little further, ask them. Ask them. Keep seeking permission. Look, we've done some powerful deep coaching today and you've had some insights. Would you like to have a little bit more of an insight into what it would look like if you and I were to do this together on a regular basis? Ask for permission and they'll tell you, no, I'm complete. I'm done for now. Or, yeah, that would be interesting. And sometimes if you've paused in the silence, they'll say to you, wow, that was powerful. How do we do more of this? So you get to that place where you've had this pause and you've invited them or they've made a request of you. Let's take this a little bit deeper. Well, then it's your moment to say, okay, let's talk. Now, the problem with most coaches is they dive straight into logistics. Or actually, what they do before that, the person says, I'm interested to work with you. And on the inside, they go, yay, I got a client. And they go into grasping mode. Slow down. No one's a client until a check is in your bank account. So slow down. There is no rush. Your mission is to build a relationship. Okay, I get it. You'd like to hear a little bit about what it would look like for us to work together. Don't dive into logistics. Most coaches in that moment go, well, if we work together, we'll speak once a week, every week for an hour at a time, and you can email me whenever you want, and that will cost you $10,000. And then they phase out. They can't even take that in. You just said, well, basically, I'm going to talk to you once a week, and it's going to cost a bunch of money. And it wouldn't matter if you said it was $1,000. Most people don't have a coaching budget. They've got a budget for a new flat screen TV and a budget for a vacation, They don't have a budget for coaching on the whole. So slow it down. Don't go to logistics. Yeah, I'd really be interested to hear what it would look like for us to work together. Okay, so this is what it would look like for you and I to work together. And then you tell them to get out a pen and a paper. If you've got some colored pens, even better. I always carry colored pens with me. Write this down. The first thing we're going to do is look at your vision. Your vision for what you want to create. Now, in the last 2 hours, you've shared with me this vision you have for your business, this vision you have for your relationship, this vision you have for your health, or whatever it is. Have them write down the vision and then craft it for them once again. So what I hear from you is that this business that you've got right now, you want to take it from 6 figures to 7 figures. You want to have a bigger impact than you've ever had. Build up that audience who are your client base right now. And get back in touch with what they said to you, what they want to do. So have them write down on their piece of paper the word vision. Now, this is not a formula, so it might not be the word vision. It might be something else. But let's play with this. I'll give you 5 words. You want to have 5 words that you take away with them. And often the first one I use is vision. Well, what next? Here's the second thing we're going to do together. We're going to turn your vision, the way you see what you want to create, into a strategy. So when you wake up each morning, you'll know what you need to do. From week to week, from month to month, you'll know what to do. We're going to take the vision you've crafted and turn that into a strategy for how you're going to work and what you're going to create. And then again, get back to the specifics. So they're talking about their business. Talk about how you work with them on that, or their body, or their health, or whatever it is. Get back into the specifics. If you talk in general terms, you will lose them. It has to be about them. Again, that's the reason I hid this away in the back of the book, because in a book, people think it's a formula. It's about you and the person you're talking to. Number 1, vision. Number 2, strategy. Number 3, well, here's the next thing. You'll notice today that in our conversation, there were some beliefs that we pulled out that seem to be limiting you. There's a way that you see your world that constrains the world that you live in. That's what I call mindset. So we'll look at the psychological barriers in your way and shift them. So write down on your piece of paper, mindset. Today we looked at your mindset around money or relationship or health. We saw some ways to shift that. We're going to dive deeper and deeper into that. So now they have on their piece of paper, vision, strategy, and mindset. Number 4, let's call this one skill set. Maybe there's some skills that you need to build to take that vision and turn it into reality. Let's say public speaking skills. Let's say skills of negotiation. Let's say team building skills. Some of them you might need to work on with me, and some of them will find a place where you can build those skills. But that's the 4th thing that we're going to do in our time together. Vision, strategy, mindset, skill set. And the last one, energy. You see, there are things that you're doing right now in your life that are draining you of energy. People you hang out with who drain you of energy. Even habits that you have that drain you of energy. And there are people and places and things and habits that you have that fill you with energy. We're going to make 2 lists. A list of all the things that drain you of energy. A list of all the things that fill you with energy. And then one at a time, we're going to start to remove from your life those things that drain you of energy. And then ask them, tell me one thing right now that drains you of energy. One person, one place you hang out, one thing you do that drains you of energy. And make it real. In that moment, talk about how you could help them remove that from their life or lessen its impact on their life. Now they've got 5 words on their piece of paper. Now, in the back of the book, on this Appendix 3, I've given you about a dozen different ways to look at this. There's something called the Litvin list. Actually, it's Appendix 2. You can talk about their goals, their skill set, their creativity. You can talk about the service they give, their integrity. You can put any of those into the mix, depending on who the person is in front of you. That's That's why this is more complex than some simple little list that you're going to check off as you work with somebody. You've got to feel this from the person in front of you. So, you've got to this place where you've been through what it would look like to work with you. Not yet the logistics. First, how you're going to work with them. That's key. That piece of paper is key, because what happens when they spend time with you and they say, oh my God, I really want to work with you. This has been so powerful. And they say, what does it look like? And most coaches say, well, we coach once a week. This is how much time we spend. This is how much money it will cost. They say, great, I'm in. And they walk away. And that night they go and speak to their husband, their wife, their business partner, their business manager. They say, oh my God, this guy's amazing. This woman's an amazing coach. I want to work with them. The husband says, tell me more. What do you mean? And they say, well, we just had this powerful conversation and it shifted my life. Interesting, the husband says. Tell me more. Well, I'm going to speak to them once a week and it's going to cost me $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, even $1,000. Remember, nobody has a coaching budget. And in that moment, the husband freaks out. What do you mean you're going to spend $1,000? Just talking to somebody? You talk to me every night. I'm always giving you advice. Why would you spend $1,000? And suddenly, your potential client gets a bit freaked out. They don't want to upset their husband. They don't know how to explain a physical, visceral, insight experience because it can't be put into words, right? If my world shifts because I see my world differently, how do I explain that in words? And suddenly they agree with their husband. You know, you're right. They were a bit pushy. You know, you're right. I don't think we do have that money. We could spend it on the kids, the vacation, the new flat screen TV. You know what? I think I've already had my breakthrough. And you never hear from them again. Sound familiar? But you give them this piece of paper with their words. And the husband says, what do you mean you're going to work with this person? And they say, yeah. You know that vision I have for my business? That vision I have for our relationship? That vision I have for my health? Well, this is how we're going to work on it. These are the 5 things we're going to work on. And they talk that through with a language that they have. They can translate it to somebody else. So let's go back. You've given them a way to describe, your potential client a way to describe what it would look like to work with you. Now you do need to come to logistics. Well, here's how we work together. We'll speak once a week for 45 minutes. We'll speak for an hour a week, but only 3 weeks a month. Or we'll speak twice a month. Whatever it is, you have to make it up and create it your own way. But you do need to know in advance your numbers. I tell a lot of coaches to have a menu, a bit like a menu in a restaurant. Oh, well, the burger costs this much, the steak costs this much. You want a glass of champagne? This is how much it costs. It makes it easy, especially if you're a newer coach. Well, there are 3 ways to work with me. You can work with me for 6 months, you can work with me for 3 months, or you can do a 2-day immersion program face-to-face. Here's the numbers. It's $10,000 for this, $6,000 for this, or $2,500 for this. It's simple. It makes it easy for you. Once you've said the logistics, the time, how you work together, any details around how often they can speak to you or email commitments, and you've said your number. And by the way, practice and practice and practice that number. It needs to roll off your tongue like your phone number. You don't need to think about it. It has to be something you think about, then you're going to get stuck in the moment. If it is, pick up a piece of paper with your numbers on if you need to. Practice in front of the mirror. Practice to your husband. Practice to your friends. Practice to your kids. But you've said your number. And then once again, you pause and you bite your tongue. That silence is uncomfortable, but that silence gives them a moment to think, gives them a moment to breathe. It's uncomfortable even now for me to hold this silence, but I'm used to it. I'm okay feeling uncomfortable. It's $55,000 to work with me for a year. $75,000 to work with me for a year. It's $1,000 to work with me for 3 months. Whatever your number is. You get to that moment, you pause and you say nothing. Then, in that moment, something will occur. They'll say, wow, that's expensive. You can say. Or, it depends. If you've invested deeply in your own professional development, you'll know that that's not expensive because you're used to spending that kind of money. And with integrity, you can say, yeah, kind of. Or, that depends. If you've never even hired your own coach, it's the reason you're going to struggle in that moment because you don't know what it feels like for them when they hear that number. As small as that number might be to you, it can be huge to them. But if you get to the other side, if they say, you know what, I'm in. I want this. I get it. I got to juggle some money from one bank account to another. I got to go and create the money. Don't do what most coaches do, which is to say yes, at least on the inside. Say, hang on a second. Let's just slow this down for a second because I don't want to rush you. I call this challenging the yes. Don't tell them that, but challenging the yes is important. Like, hang on a second. Let's just slow this down. Are you sure I'm not rushing you? Like we just had a 2-hour conversation. Take some time to think about this. Why don't you go through in your mind for the next 24 hours all the reasons why you'd be a no to this? And once you put all those reasons out why you'd be a no, if each one of them gets turned around into a yes, then you know you're in. Then call me and say I'm in. Then put a check in the mail. Then give me your Visa card number. But right now, let's slow this down. I'm not sure we haven't rushed this a little bit. Challenging the yes is the hardest thing to do as a coach, but you get to practice challenging the yes, and you will see how powerfully your clients show up. Because if they have to handle their objections for themselves, then you know they want to work with you. If you are having to handle their objections, then they're not ready. Then here's the final piece. And this is the one that most coaches have no clue about. Here's what I require of you. Wow. You see, most coaches in that moment are like, wow, I'm so excited. I'm going to be hired by this person. If you want to do powerful, deep coaching with a powerful client, meet them as a peer. Here's what I require of you. Take 24 hours to think about this and then get back to me. Here's what I require of you. Call me in 3 days. Here's what I require of you. Take a day to really integrate all these learnings and insights, and then send me an email. Write down your most significant insight. Write down one action you're going to take as a result of this. Speak to your husband, because I'm not going to allow you to work with me until you've had a powerful conversation about coaching with your husband. Your husband needs to be on board. If you can't even enroll your husband, then this isn't the right relationship for you. This is not the powerful coaching that you need. Whatever it is, give them an assignment. Here's what I require of you. And then put a date on the calendar. Put a time on the calendar. Tell them to call you, or you call them, or whatever it is. Put something on the calendar. Whew, it's a lot, right? But it's important. And I've teased this out to show you how important it is. Let's just backtrack for a moment. I'm going to look at my notes. Number 1, no rush. You are building a relationship. Number 2, in the moment when the person in front of you has an insight and you know you're there, it's time to take them off the hot seat, pause. Hold the silence longer than it feels comfortable. Let them speak first. When you're in that stage of making proposals, would you like to hear a little bit more about this? Or a phrase like that where you keep seeking permission is really powerful. Use the chapter in the book that I call the Litvin list, the appendix 2, to pull out at least 5, probably no more than 5 criteria for how you're going to work together. Today I talked about vision and mission and mindset, vision and strategy, mindset, skill set, and energy. But pick 5 that work for you. 5 that work for your coaching. Throw out the ones I've just said. This has to be personalized for you and personalized for the person you're speaking to. Practice your numbers. Practice them so they roll off your tongue. Have a little menu. There are 3 ways that we could work together. Practice proposals. Challenge the yes. You get a yes, slow down. Are you sure we haven't moved too fast? Let's slow this down for a moment. And finally, here's what I require of you. So, in the spirit of that, here's what I require of you. Take a moment when you've watched this and then send a reply to me. Either post it here in the Facebook page or the YouTube page, wherever we are right now, wherever you're watching this, or send a message to me, hello@richlitvin.com. One insight that you got from this and one action that you're going to take as a result of watching this. Okay, there we go. Powerful, deep coaching can be turned into a powerful coaching relationship. You can have powerful professional agreements if you slow down and be with the person in front of you and you practice some of these skills and some of this way of being when you spend time with the clients you're serving.